First guy I want to talk about tonight's Jaylen Brown. So Jaylen Brown, throughout the course of the season, obviously had that little injury where he missed, I want to say it was like 4 or 5 games there, probably about a week and a half ago. Brown has been really interesting this year insofar as he's the guy on Boston that has not shot it super well, but I don't think that it's necessarily impacted his play all that much either. The efficiency is down, like he's shooting 43% from the field and 28% from 3 coming into this game. But I feel like when I watch him, the passing has improved a little bit. The overall vision has improved. I feel like his left hand as a ball handler has improved a little bit. You can still get up on him and like pressure him and cause him some problems there, but he feels a little bit more comfortable dribbling with that left hand and being able to continue to drive and create plays that way. In this game today, though, he was just monstrous, both in the first quarter and in the fourth quarter. That's really what it came down to. He goes for 29 points on 18 shots, drills 7 threes, has 4 assists, and more than anything, like late in this game, he was critical on Anthony Edwards. And I thought in general, he played a really strong defensive game that I kind of want to talk about. There are some things that came up where like you see the difference between him and some of the elite, like all NBA caliber defenders or like all defense team members. But I think it does sometimes go underrated that Jaylen Brown is like a really good on ball defender who can frustrate these guys like Anthony Edwards. It felt like they were constantly trying to switch Ant off of Jaylen Brown in this game. And look, Ant goes for 28, 9, and 7, but it felt like most of his stuff came off of switches against Al Horford, or, you know, maybe they try and get like a Derek White or somebody that Ant can kind of just go through to the basket a little bit when he's downhill. It was a really, really impressive performance, I felt like, from Jaylen Brown. So let's talk about it, because Jaylen's been, the Celtics are great, and Jaylen has continued to be an important piece of it. He's averaging 25 points per game this year, for God's sake. That might go up to near 26 after tonight. So this is just kind of an opening, like first possession, right? Literally, I think this is Minnesota's first possession of the game. You're going to get to see him just kind of slip around a screen here. And then he gets over the top of a Randall screen, contests a 3 from Anthony Edwards. I just like how slithery he is around screens for the most part. Look, is this a great screen here? No. I would argue that Randall kind of opens up this lane for Jaylen to be able to get through a little bit too easily. But I think that what Jaylen does just really, really well defensively in general in one-on-one situations is he's able to stop and get those long arms up for a contest. He's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan, very capable of defending. And this is where the fun really starts for Jaylen, because Jaylen drilled 5 threes to start this game. He had like 15 points in the first 3.5 minutes. He just got like smoldering hot here. And I think that what is so fun just about the way Boston operates, and a lot of these came like in semi-transition and transition, you can kind of see the problems already. Like if you accidentally overload a side here in Minnesota in transition, like with Randall coming down on the left, when in reality, you've got 3 bodies here on the left side of the court for the offense, right side for the defense. You really have to like pick these guys up early. And if you don't, it's going to be tricky. You see here, Jaden McDaniels and Randall were kind of communicating. Tatum does an amazing job of just getting this ball over immediately, just reversing this as soon as he touches it, right? You can see the communication happening here between Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle. He's telling Julius, hey, go out to take Jaylen. I will take the ball here, which I think is the right call for what it's worth. Jason Tatum has been one of the 5 best players in the league this year, but just an immediate reversal, and Randall's late. Those are the problems that Boston causes you. They seem simple, but when you're playing 5 out like they are, these are the problems that Boston causes you that very few other teams do. So here, you're just going to get to see Jaylen kind of be active and help, right? You can see that he's kind of ball watching a little bit, but he knows where Ant is the whole time. Ant's not like some crazy off-ball mover. This is a great matchup, I think, for Jaylen Brown in general. It's never a great matchup necessarily to have to guard Anthony Edwards, But among the star players, Ant's decisions to not move a ton without the ball kind of doesn't necessarily always take advantage of what Jaylen, I think, can struggle with. And we'll get to that in one clip here particularly. But look, I like the scramble help. I like him getting over the top here. Comes up, blocks this potential shot. I like how quickly he covers ground as well. You can just see that perfectly here. Look at this last stride. That last stride, he covers ground very, very quickly. Gets up very high off the ground as well. I mean, he is just a very serious, sick leaper. He's a real presence defensively across the board. This one going to come up. 1-4 screen from Jason Tatum. And if you are even just like a split second late with your rotations, Boston is going to kill you. So this is just a fun, they come out. Screen here from Tatum. He's going to short roll into this area. As soon as he gets leverage here on Ant, he knows that he's going to have that short roll, and Derek White knows that he's going to have that short roll. As soon as he gets that leverage, he comes immediately, opens his hips, gets to the ball. And as soon as Tatum is in this spot here, even though he barely has the ball, Rudy knows that he's going to have to help. Because Tatum's footwork is so good that as long as he controls the ball even remotely, he's going to be able to go up and score. Now, he helps here. Julius is late helping the helper. And because Julius is late helping the helper, it opens up this wide open passing angle for the wraparound for Tatum. And he knows it's there. Julius really needs to be like here. He is responsible for the 1-on-2 here. But because he's kind of asleep on defense, it just opens up this wide open. And now he's going to have to close hard. And now Ant's going to have to X out hard. And that's just a long closeout against a shooter like Jaylen Brown. I know Jaylen isn't shooting super well this year, but Jaylen Brown can make open shots. Again, the margin for error against Boston is basically zero. This one, just nobody picks up Jaylen Brown in transition, right? This one's super simple. No communication here, it feels, or like maybe some communication, but Jaden McDaniels, it feels like, isn't totally sure where he's going compared to Randall here. It feels like there's a breakdown between these two because Ant is trying to filter back. The question is, how should they handle this? In my opinion, what they should be doing is Julius should be filtering back to Horford here. It's Horford, I believe. Jaden should be taking the ball, and Ant should probably turn and be responsible here for Jaylen Brown. Jaylen's now going to get the ball, so Ant has to turn and take the ball anyway here. But if you do this and you have Randall on this side, you can at least deal with a 1-on-2, in my opinion. I understand why there's a breakdown here. Really, Gobert is just very late getting back, and you're in a 5-on-4 no matter what. But this is the guy who's just drilled 2 threes. You can't leave him. It's just too easy. And oh, by the way, like, let's say he decides not to take this. As soon as he sees Ant jump, I mean, he can just reverse that ball over to Drew Holiday, another 40% three-point shooter. Boston just makes it exceedingly hard. Again, if you have these minor breakdowns, there's no margin for error. You have to communicate so incredibly well at all times. Here, this is one that I believe Jaylen makes an error on, if I remember correctly. Yeah, just completely ball watches, gets caught kind of coming in here. So this is the difference between Jaylen Brown and like an all defense guy. And this is why he's not really an all defense guy, despite being like a really solid, a really good on ball defender and a guy who can make some crashing rotations and make some high level plays. Just watch Jaylen. Like, he's just like totally ball watching, gets kind of sucked in here. When in reality, with 2 on the ball here, he's kind of responsible for a 1-on-2. Like, he needs to be here. He needs to be out here. And he's just kind of walking in and getting stuck. And he opens just a wide open passing lane out for Anthony Edwards. It's way too easy. It's way too easy. But that's just a small difference, right? That's what great defenders do versus like really good defenders. And Jaylen is a little bit space cadet-y on help defense from time to time. It's okay. Doesn't make him less of a player. Just makes him a guy that you have to account for a little bit more on defense from time to time. And someone who like isn't quite an all defense guy, but is very good. So this one, 4-3 here from Jaylen. Early transition play. Quick little attempted DHO. Now we're going to get Drew pitching the ball back here to Tatum. Horford, I think, sees that Julius Randle is just way too deep in the lane here, and he just goes and sets a screen. He's just like, okay, I'm just going to screen here. The reason that you screen here, and this is just really, really good from Al Horford, in my opinion, and this is what makes Al Horford such a smart player. The reason that you screen where he does here, right at the line, as opposed to going to find Julius Randle, is that you don't know which of these 2 guys here is going to actually close out. So you want the screen to be available for whoever makes the closeout. Here, he figures out, okay, Gobert is going to sink back. Randall's coming up. So if I'm here, I can move my hips before Julius gets up here, and I can be available for a screen. Sets up a wide open 3 for Brown. That's 4. Now we're going to get just like a little poke away here from Jaylen. Unfortunately, sometimes the camera angles get a little bit funky, but you know, this, I think, was like a little rejected screen from Ant. You get the help over from Drew. But look at Jaylen's hand. It's already in. Whether or not Ant was going to make this read out here to Jaden McDaniels, I'm not sure. It's hard to say based off of what ends up happening. I think he kind of plays for the foul once he feels the hand in there. You can see his like arms kind of splay out in the way that, you know, guys kind of do that on attempted drawn fouls. But Jaylen just does a good job getting his hand in there. And now, you know, Jaylen's just kind of feeling it. He's going to chase out and find Gobert. Locks Gobert onto a side of the court. And now we're just going to handle and get to a sidestep 3. I mean, literally nothing Rudy could have done there. And now we're heat checking. And I respect the heat check. It ends up being I don't know if it was blocked or if it was, you know, just short or what. But just the early screen here from Horford. Again, I just love Al Horford. Knowing where his guy is, knowing who the hot hand is right now. Yeah, Dante didn't get anywhere near blocking that. Jaylen just ends up short. I think he had a couple air balls in the first quarter, honestly. Now we're, you know, just going back. But he airballs this ball, and then he gets back on defense, right? Fights through the screen, gets through the contest, does a great job here against Dante. Dante kind of got rolling a little bit in this game. But I love how he just trails and then gets around the screen again. You know, for me, you know, you'd like to see Randall, you know, stay solid there on that screen as opposed to just turning his hips there and kind of letting Jaylen Olay it a little bit. But great work from Jaylen, right? Doesn't worry about the miss, and then we're back down the court again. And look, he would be within every single right here to take that shot, and he doesn't. I love the way he sees the court here. Drew hunts him out. He could take this one. He's got Gobert coming in. Maybe Gobert gets to it. He could sidestep here instead of taking the one dribble forward and get to a three this way. Nobody's going to be able to block him over there. But instead, he drives, forces the help, sees the help coming, kicks it out here. Just a really unselfish play. Again, Boston, just a really good offensive team, right? Gets it around to White, who's a better shooter than both of those guys. White just misses. Sometimes you miss shots. Most of the clips are going to be from the first and fourth quarters here, as you'll see. I mean, this is just fantastic from Jaylen again. Just a quick little scramble. He's going to see the spin here. I feel like this is the moment where he realizes, okay, Nas is a little bit loose with the ball here. I can dive and just go. Ball goes off of Nas's knee, I believe there. We slow it down. Think like it hits like right there. Another turnover from Jaylen Brown. Really, really good. Now we're still in the first quarter, and he started to pass the ball really well. Just a quick little like 3-1, 4-1 ball screen. So what is Jaylen reading here on this pass? It's a miss, but process over results, right? So for example, on where Julius Randle should have been on that one where he was 1-on-2, look at where Naz Reid is here. He's right in the middle of where the passing lane is going to be. This is good. He's able to close out to Tillman. He's able to close out onto Hauser. And if you see where his positioning is, he knows that Tillman takes a little longer to get the shot off. So he needs to be up a little higher to deal with Hauser. Really smart from Naz Reid. Brown does a good job manipulating Reid, though. You can see that Jaylen Brown is looking this way. He's going to force Naz to take one step that way. And then he's going to kick it out right above him. Pass is just slightly off target. You'd love to see him hit the target just a little bit better, but get that ball out there. That's the key. Another just looks like it's going to set up as like a 1-3, 1-5 screen. Instead, they're kind of just trying to find different mismatches. So this one particularly, Drew Holiday is guarded by Rob Dillingham. Dillingham had like 14 or so in this game, which is a little bit better. Dillingham comes up with Jaylen. Jaylen decides to reject the screen. And then they kind of get caught in terms of, hey, what are we doing here? This is just like a rookie error from Dillingham, right? Not sure if we're switching, not sure if we're staying attached. He decides, all right, I'm going to go out. I'm going to maybe, guard Jaylen, maybe not. Nikhil, I think, communicates maybe to switch, but it just allows Jaylen that space to get downhill is the problem. And then the real issue here from Rob is this help. This help can't happen. This is the one that's kind of fatal here. You see Jaylen just feel that help, spin back, and he knows that he's got Drew here on a dump off because that's who Rob was on. And Drew ends up just going up quick with the left, right? Really sharp. And then final play of the first, again, Peyton Pritchard gets the ball out. Again, what are we looking at here? We're just looking at attacking Rob Dillingham, right? Trying to attack Dillingham, force some sort of weird miscommunication. Dillingham comes out to like hedge. Not terrible, honestly. Nas stunts here. To me, with the way Pritchard is shooting this year, I think this has to be a closeout. And then you have to have Dillingham filter to the corner as Ant takes the cutter. But look, these decisions happen split second every time. Really, really hard. But again, like Jaylen Brown's the guy that makes this happen because Jaylen is the one that they're taking advantage of his ability to get downhill against a guy in Rob Dillingham who just like wouldn't be able to stop him at the end. Like if Dillingham, I guess, is out here, but he would have no chance to be able to slow him down. Jaylen's just too big, too strong for him, too fast, too physical. First quarter again. Now Jaylen on Ant. Gets through the screen. Now we're just rotating everywhere. The last move here from Jaylen that's really sharp is, you see the rotation here, Tillman back. But the key here is that Jaylen, as the drive happens, he's over to help the helper here. Doesn't allow the easy dump off to Gobert, makes it at least a little bit more difficult. That's a hell of a first quarter. That's about as good as you can play, and still Minnesota was winning. My Doer jeans are truly my favorite piece of clothing that I own right now. They sent me out a pair of jeans, and they are fantastic. I've been wearing these things everywhere that I can whenever I go out of the house. They are so comfortable. They look great. They feel great. They're stylish. They're versatile. You can wear them in a lot of different situations. They are fantastic, fantastic jeans. Doer is built for doing, with styles of stretch performance denim and lifestyle apparel for everyone in every season. Doer has you covered for the colder winter months with fabrics like a fireside denim, which is interwoven with fleece for warmth without too much bulk. Plus, Doer's clothes are sustainably crafted to last. They're going to be a staple in my closet for years. I am going to try and get them to send me more clothes out, in all honesty, because they have been so good. I love my Doers, and I'm sure you will too. Check out Doers flagship stores in LA or Denver, or shop online at shopdoer.com/game theory. That's shopduer.com/game theory. Right now, my listeners are going to get 20% off your first purchase when you use that exclusive URL. Don't wait. Get 20% off at shopdoer.com/game theory. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a very liberal 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of the high net worth for any net worth for just $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For specific product disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. So just a quick second quarter thing. I love how early he just tries to set post position. You can see Derek White like literally say to Horford, hey, look, he's got Dante DiVincenzo. This is a good just example of how strong Jaylen Brown is. Like, Jaylen is a physical dude. He is able to really carve out that space. Look at how deep he gets Dante here. Dante literally has a foot in the reserved area, restricted area here. And then Jaylen just goes up strong, ends up getting fouled a little too easy. Here, third quarter, I just love how physical he is at the point of attack. He's so strong. He's powerful. Holds up Ant here. And look, this makes it look like Ant beats him off the bounce, and he does get an edge on him, right? But the key to note here is that look at how Jaylen just stays attached to the hip. And then forces Ant to make a hard passing read. The more difficult passing reads that you can force Ant into making, the better off you are. Really, Jason Tatum the whole time is doing a great job here playing this 1-on-2. Ant is not great yet with the ability to manipulate with his eyes. So Tatum just reads where he's going and says, I'm going to go get this ball. Attacks it. Starts a fast break, ends up being a wide open 3 for Horford. He misses, but hey, sometimes you miss shots, right? And this was kind of a weird, fun, wild game, right? Like, there's that big run from Boston to start. Then Minnesota took a run to take a lead late in the first. Then Boston had, a mid-second quarter run. Then an early, like a Minnesota run late in the second, if I think I'm right, to like get out to a pretty close to a tie game at halftime, and then a 14-0 Boston run in the third quarter, and then like Rob Dillingham comes in and plays some useful minutes. So here, Jaylen just ISOs. He's going to try and get downhill. Jaylen is really good at that hand fighting stuff, right? This is an elite defender, not just a good defender. Jaden McDaniels is an elite defender in the NBA. Gets that crossover. You can see just that little shove, right? Gets that arm out, kind of shoves him backward a little bit. And just look at how much separation that little shove creates, right? Here to here. That's like 4 feet or so, let's call it. That's a good shot. That's a good shot for Jaylen Brown. Next up in the fourth, again, Jaden McDaniels. We're into like a 1-4 screen. Boston is always hunting mismatches. You're just trying to attack Rob Dillingham here, and that's it, right? So again, they decided that they were going to try to like hard hedge these and allow McDaniels to try to recover back. The problem with this against Boston, and I do not like this strategy against Boston's screeners, their guards, particularly when they set these physical screens, are so fucking good at making contact and being physical at that screen mesh point that I just don't think you can do this and recover. So, and then, I mean, Dillingham just, absolutely screens his own man here as well, which isn't great. But you have to be so perfect with this stuff. And then he's just attacking Randall on the interior, and that's, no chance that's going to go well for Minnesota. I just don't like the strategy here, especially with Randall in, like, as the backline defender, because you're just going to end up creating so many paint touches for Boston at the end of the day doing this. So here, who are we hunting? Again, hunting Rob Dillingham, just trying to find him. Not big enough, not strong enough, not physical enough defensively. Even just small stuff like this, right? Where this goes about as well as it can for this strategy that they're trying to employ. The problem is that when you hard hedge, and even when Jaden recovers, you still are giving him downhill ability. And Jaylen Brown, if you give him that much separation, is going to get downhill. He's too athletic. He's too quick. He's too powerful. So here he does a great job understanding that Randall here is just kind of asleep. I understand what Randall's thinking here, at least. Randall's at least thinking that he has to help the helper here. But to me, when you have Naz there and you're not even sure Naz is going to have to help because Jaden is here and he's picked up the ball already, you have to stay attached to the 40% 3-point shooter. And these are quick decisions. I get that these are not like super simple ones, but sharp pass out from Jaylen Brown. I do worry if Minnesota just has too many ineffectual off-ball defenders right now with the way that their team is set up. I mean, just again, look at this. The reason I put this one on here is because Ant was very clearly trying to attack Al Horford. So watch what Jaylen and Horford do here communication-wise. They're going to pre-switch this, right? So you see Jaylen go to Al, hey, take Naz. I'll come up here and deal with this screen. It's not like Rudy Gobert is going to be able to back down Jaylen Brown. So as soon as the screen comes, Jaylen just comes here, cuts it off, and they switch it. So Jaylen just stays up, aggressively gets into his space. They end up kind of calling a foul on the floor here against Drew Holiday. No points. And then to finish the possession, Jaylen comes out onto Ant, gets the contest. I thought Jaylen Brown was outstanding on defense against Ant today. When he had the matchup, he was just so terrific. So this one, I mean, this is just a hard matchup, right? Also a great example of his shot making ability. But look at where he catches this ball, right? So Jaylen catches this ball right outside of the Abu Dhabi sign. And look where he ends up just by posting and being more physical than Nickeil Alexander-Walker, another really great defender. He goes from right here basically to right here just in a post up, and that forces all sorts of help, right? We've got 4 guys touching paint here from Minnesota against the best 3-point shooting team arguably of all time. Jaylen rises up and ends up just making this shot, but he had kickouts everywhere too. Again, picks up the ball, does a great job just staying attached. Even gets clipped on this screen, gets back, stops, recovers, gets to the shot. He's just a great athlete. He's an unbelievable athlete, Jaylen Brown. I think somehow we like underrate Jaylen Brown's athleticism. He is one of the elite athletes in the NBA. This was the backbreaker. Minnesota obviously has a shot to win it at the end. We'll show that too, but I mean, this is just Jaylen Brown being great, feeling it today, right? He's got a little bit of separation, shoots up over the top of McDaniels, drills it. This one he ends up missing, but they went to him late, right? You string out Rudy on a switch. I love how he stopped here and forced the switch from Rudy. And just look at all that separation. This is just one, hey, sometimes you make them, sometimes you don't, right? This one didn't fall, but what can you do? And then finally, last play here. Screen here from Nas, screen from Jaden there, knowing that Ant's going to come around here. And just look at Jaylen. Just calmly get through. No worries. Aggressive, physical, forcing him wide. Ant makes a great pass. They kick it out to Nas Reed high. I don't know if Nas got this ball off. He did. Nas got this ball off. Actually hard to say because it's when the light goes on. I don't know if I have quite enough technology here. Still 0.1 when it's in his hands. Let's say he gets it off. But that whole thing is caused by Jaylen forcing the ball out of Ant's hands, right? Forces it out. Jason rotates down. Drew knows he's going to have to rotate up. Gets a hand up there. It's a miss from Nas Reed. Celtics win, but this was all Jaylen Brown today. This was all Jaylen Brown. I thought Jaylen was elite today. This was like an all-NBA kind of game from Jaylen Brown. He's had a couple in a row now. He was really, really good against, I think it was Washington or Brooklyn. I think it was Washington. What was that? That was on Friday night in a cup game, if I remember correctly. He had like 31 and 10 or something. And then I think that the game before that, like the overtime game against Toronto, he was also really quite good as well. So basically, since he's been back, he has been a real number 2 next to Jason Tatum in a way that Boston really needs.